Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Inside the Mirror Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle David, and I have a very special guest today, my good friend, my brother, almost by blood, Ryan Garrett. Ryan, what's poppin'? Welcome to the podcast. So, Ryan,
Thank you.
As we were talking, Ryan, you're the guinea pig for the podcast. Sorry. You're my good friend. That's just how it worked out. You're the guinea pig. So we recorded the first episode of Inside the Mirror podcast last May. You remember. I don't know if you remember.
Like 2 hours long.
It was almost 2 hours long.
Yeah.
Last May. I messed it up. I ended up deleting the entire conversation. You had a baby like 3 weeks after that because the first podcast episode was May 23rd. And the June... What day was the baby born? 3rd?
6th.
6th. So June 6th. So you had a baby, and then life has gotten both of us, and we haven't been able to re-record it. So here we are, COVID edition podcast with the original podcast, Mr. Ryan Garrett. Thanks for being back, Ryan.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. No, I'm kidding. Ryan, what's up, bro? We haven't seen each other since before COVID-19.
I think last I saw you was at your work.
Urban Rio. Shout out to the Urban Rio.
Yeah. Dang good food.
Now, what have you been doing? We literally haven't spoke other than via text. What have you been doing, man? How are you filling your time other than raising a child?
Well, we moved from my old house, living with my brother and cousin and friend. April 1st, not a joke. We moved to this location.
Not a joke.
Still in Allen, but just up the road some.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's just us. First year and a half, give or take. Living with other people is interesting, but we got out of debt, so there's that.
You're clear out of debt?
Yeah, pretty much. Save Ashley's student loans, but that's it. Paid off her car, so we're good now.
Look, man, we know this is a good time to get out of debt. Like, as the economy is shaky, things are shaky, man. This is a good time to have less money that you owe people.
Yeah.
Where do you sit? Okay, so me and my sister have talked about this on 2 episodes of the podcast, and she's kind of like, she's basically said, which I agree, that everybody has to take in information and filter it differently, right? Like, some people watch this source and get their information. Some people watch this source and get a little bit different information. So, and some people need a lot of information to feel comfy, and some people don't want any information because they panic and freak out. So anyways, with all that being said, I tend to, as a man, I guess, maybe it's a male trait, I tend to want more information. You too, I like to know what's going on. I can filter out the political bias and the BS, and I think I'm able to get the meat of information and be able to know what I'm talking about for the most part. Are you more of a more information person, or are you of a less information that makes me scared type person?
I like details, so I guess more information, but I don't really get scared of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
why?
Huh? Why
not?
Well, because I serve the king, and he's got me. So
let's go, baby. Let's go. But I thought that at first. I'm not gonna lie. I got a little bit scared. Maybe not scared, but obviously, when at first they were like, people are dying from this crazy virus that's spreading throughout the world at a rapid pace, and I was like, well, I could die. Shoot, well, what if I die? But I very quickly got over it with, if I die, I kind of win. It's a win-win. Either I stay here and I keep living for the Lord and for the purpose that I believe I'm here for, or game over, cool, I get to go kick it in heaven forever. So I got past that. Is that so for you, more information? How about your wife? Does she like all the information, or does she let you tell her what's going on?
I mean, she sees what I see for the most part. I share a lot, and vice versa. So, but she would be the worrier out of the two of us, but she didn't never get. I mean, we're not dumb, we don't want to get the virus. We don't want who wants to get sick, right?
Right.
And then she's already half miserable with morning sickness all the time, and then the baby killing her sleep and everything. So it'd be more of a really great inconvenience for us.
That's fair.
I'm not detracting. I don't want to detract from the reality of some people getting this sickness and it being really bad and then dying and just the repercussions of that. I don't wish that on anybody, but for me, myself and my family, like I'm not scared. You can't live in fear. So
right. Plus at the same, and also like trying to be practical, like you can, if it is a strain of flu, which we know it is a flu-like strain, right? Like at some point, people are going to need to build up some type of an immunity to it. Now, I'm not saying like everybody go run out and touch each other. For sure, a bad idea. But at some point, just like the flu, we've all had to build up a flu immunity, whether it's a flu vaccine or just like living long enough to where you got the flu and you build up an immunity to it, right? So like there's obviously we're in a weird time where like people are like, well, open the country up, and other people are like, shut it down till we have a vaccine, and then there's everything in the middle. But I think I'll probably tend to side more with you at this point, where I'm more like, let's get things going. We have to live life. We have to at some point build up an immunity to it. Plus, at some point, like the economy has to open back up, and we have to resume some sense, even for people's sanity. But also, again, we have to keep things going. We can't just live in fear and be like, we got to stay shut down forever because this thing might get one of us out of 1,000 or whatever the number is, right? Like, I just think like we have lived a little bit, maybe too much in fear. Just an opinion. And there's been points through this where I've been scared. So, but I'm just saying we might have overdone it as far as the fear mongering, or maybe not fear mongering, but you see what I'm trying. We may have lived through a time where we really put fear on a pedestal. Your thoughts?
I think the virus itself is not the scary thing. It's the facts, all the stuff that I've listened to and watched from a lot of various media, various sources, and then all through a biblical lens. Just I listened to John MacArthur put out gosh, what's the guy's name? He's being interviewed by one of his dudes.
And John MacArthur is who, for the people that don't know? Johnny Mac.
He is he's been a pastor for 50 years at the same church out of somewhere in California, I think Southern California area, but very solid, refuses to compromise on the truth of the Bible in any facet. So, but he's somebody I look up to. He really helped shape my faith and all that. So that's John MacArthur. But he's been interviewed, and they were talking about like like the COVID-19 and a biblical way of looking at it, et cetera, et cetera. And originally I got excited about, prophetic possibilities with this giant virus. I didn't think it was, one of the bowls or cups or trumpets. I can't remember which one is plague and all that, but he kind of put me in my place thinking like this has nothing to do with the end times. It's not like we're still here as the church, the rapture hasn't taken place or anything. And so the virus itself is not the scary thing. I think the communist government that happens to be out of China is what they did to their own people to get at us because they didn't like what was happening to them because of Donald Trump and certain policies that have been in place. And then the globalist elites, the far left, Hillary Clinton and their cronies. I mean, they had to do something drastic in order to possibly win the election this upcoming year. I mean, there's just too many coincidences. And Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself, so.
Again, Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. We know that. Hillary Clinton, no, I'm just kidding. But really, like, and me and my brother tends to be even, how would I say, not, I'm a little more moderate in my view of this situation, because I think that when a bad situation happens, bad people will find a way to benefit from it. Right. But also, not to your point, but to a lot of people out there that aren't coming from any practical or spiritual background, they just love conspiracies. There is a sect of people that I think are way too out of logic's way. They're just way too far on the spectrum, where there's like, there's this crazy plan, and like within this simulation there was this crazy story, and this is really, and none of it's true, and like, that's absolute bull hunky, or whatever however we censor ourselves. That's a bunch of BS. That this is just some elaborate play, and we all just like played our little part in this dance. I don't think so. We know COVID's real. Again, the question doesn't become, to your point though, again, like, did it come from a bat at a meat market, or were there some higher level players involved, as you were insinuating, which I would tend to agree with a little more too, because it just, again, when you have a higher view looking down, you kind of go, oh, okay, I kind of see what's going on here. But like, my point, go ahead.
I just got there's another, they're called Skywatch TV. They're you watched some of their DVDs with me.
Yeah, no, I'm familiar.
Okay. But I have the app on my phone, and they'll send me notifications, and this came in 48 minutes ago. I haven't watched it or anything yet. The title is Today's 5 and 10 quote or quotations. The U.S. says Wuhan lab most likely responsible for COVID-19. So I don't think
I would tend to agree.
Out of the market. I think it was designed and everything. So.
I would tend to agree. Now, did you see, and I'll have to send it to you later on, there was a clip from a book from like 40 years ago, and I can't remember, so I'm speaking out of what I can remember. And this guy literally predicted this down to the city.
Kuntz.
That's it. You heard about this. What's your take on that this guy randomly writing a book was able to predict the scenario down to the location it came from?
I don't know. I think it's crazy. I know that Simpsons did something similar, you know.
What do you make of all that?
I think
coincidence?
I think from our perspective, coincidence, but I think the real powers that be, and I'm not talking about people, but
sure.
Satan and his cronies, I think they may have had something to do with it.
Because people are able to, there is such a thing as being able to see into the spiritual world. Whether people want to agree with me on that or not, like, I've experienced it, so I'm going to speak on it all day. And there's a million people. I mean, we watch movies where people, even movies that are not made by what we would maybe judge as morally sound people. There's some bad people that make some bad movies that involve seeing into the spiritual realm. So to think that that's not a thing, I think, is just ignorant. Like, even the most non-spiritual people will make movies and write books about seeing into spiritual things. Well, spirituality is intertwined into everything in life. So in my opinion, to think that that's not a thing, or that everything's coincidence, is ignorant at best.
Well, the Bible even says, it says in Ecclesiastes that the eternity is placed in the hearts of men. So
from the get-go, from the beginning.
So we're, even the most diehard atheists, they think about that stuff. I mean,
they believe in something.
Yeah.
Even if that something is nothing, you believe in something.
They just they want to be in control of their fate, of their destiny. So.
And don't we all? That's the whole game, is that giving up control is the game, right? Like, resisting your own desires every day is the game. Like, that's the whole idea of everything.
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't know how we got on that tangent. But like you were saying that you had gone and seen some friends, but you guys have been pretty safe. I would assume also because you have a child, right? Like, you guys have been pretty safe. Like, but I know that you still have a lot of responsibilities.
Sophia having people breathe on her. Yeah.
Have you had more time, or you already were raising a kid regardless of Corona?
For me, it's actually been a little more difficult. I mean, it's been difficult for everybody, but So just so people know, I have full disability through the VA, and I'm currently Mr. Mom. I stay home. My wife is a teacher. She teaches at the high school in the city we live in. And so I've been at home. Hopefully, Lord willing, that changes within the next year or two, where she stays home and then I'll go to work somehow. But with Ashley being home, Sophia, our daughter, knows that Ashley's home, and so harder to console her when she wants, to be fed.
Right.
Specific type of food from a specific type of source.
Mom's got the goods right over here. I don't want this food. Yeah. So it's been more for you because you now have everything just got compromised into the realm of your house, like your new home too. So It's been interesting. How has it been having your wife home there? Like, she's working, you're both trying to raise the kid. The government says don't go interact with people. Like, how's it been?
At first, it sucked. Even before we moved, it sucked because Ashley's mommy instincts will not allow her yet comfortably to allow Sophia to cry herself through the night just cold turkey.
Uh-huh.
Could
you do that as a dad? Can you just be like, let her cry?
More than
her? Yeah,
definitely more than her. Neither of us were sleeping, so we finally compromised, and I like that I'm sleeping through the night now. Now I just need to be proactive when I wake up and do stuff. She's now, I'm sleeping in the bed, and then we have a little twin mattress that we threw in the baby room, and that way she can pick and choose when she wants to take her out of the crib when she's crying. Because my daughter's almost a year. She's 11 months old almost now.
Yeah. June 6th, we now know. June 6th is coming up.
And so
that's crazy.
I'm sleeping, so it's getting better.
How many hours of sleep are you getting?
Well, if I was a
on average
adult and didn't stay up playing a video game or videos
the truth comes out.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to get between 6 and 10 hours of sleep. That'd be nice. But it just depends when I go to bed. But I have to be honest and vulnerable with your listeners. I've been abusing my ability to be lazy some. So like with food and everything, I've packed on some pounds that I don't like. I haven't been exercising. I told you it's been December 31st was my last time in the gym, even before the quarantine. So just being lazy. And then I think that's though is an overflow of my spiritual disciplines. So,
do you think that it's all being lazy though? Like, you got a lot going on, man. Like, you guys just moved. You got this wife here trying to support because she's now working from home. You got a baby. She's now pregnant. She's bringing another baby. You got a lot going on.
I don't think it's all laziness, but I think it has everything to do with discipline, which I have not been practicing, if that makes sense.
Totally.
I mean, I get stuff done, but I don't always get stuff done.
That's fair.
Like today, I spent several hours playing a video game because I was bored. It's just one of those days, because when you have a toddler running around, you want to you clean, and then it gets dirty as you're cleaning.
Yeah.
Eventually, you just kind of like throw your hands in there. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Do you think though that, like, do you give yourself grace to like have a day or to like have a few hours? Be like, I'm gonna do this. There's nothing wrong. Like, I err on the total opposite side of like, I'm always busy. I'm always doing something, and I've learned that like that's not God's best for me. Is to always be busy. He would like rest and peace. Those are good words. Those are things I should look into, which I've been trying to do. Do you think that? Do you think you beat yourself up too much? Just a question as someone that knows you.
I may have used to, but that was when I was living in sin more often than not. Anymore, I think it's more so like I'm convicted.
That's fair.
I mean, I think I've shown myself too much grace quite more often than not.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, and it's honestly, if you really think about it, it's not that hard to live a balanced life, but you have to employ discipline. So, and that's just something I haven't done is utilize. I have it, man. I was in the Army. I got selected to be a Green Beret. I kick butt when I want to, but oftentimes I want to veg out because I can.
Mm-hmm.
So and the sad thing is about all of that is I know that I'm doing myself a disservice when I'm sitting on the couch watching a movie or playing a game or getting lost in Facebook world.
No, I get it.
On the toilet, at least.
I get it. I get it.
And rather than, cleaning the floors when I want to do it, and it's been a week, I haven't done it. I keep postponing it, and then I just get mad. So, yeah, I think it just for me it comes down to discipline, and you see all the books behind me. I've read some of them. I've read about 30 of them. I have close to 400 now. Some of them
avid book collector. You and my dad are very avid book collectors. I respect it.
I just wish I was not just collecting them. I want to read them.
You're making a dent. 4,400. That's what, 10%? You're 10% of the way in.
I might be exaggerating on the plus side, so
it's fair enough.
But I have quite a few. But it's just.
Are you reading anything right now? Like, is there anything you started recently or that you finished recently that you're like, man, that was good?
It's been some time since I've really read anything. I even struggle with, reading the Bible consistently on a daily basis. And I say struggle, it should be easy if you employ the discipline, but if you don't, man, it's a wrestling match. So
I get it.
And granted, I could use my daughter. Like, my time normally would be in the mornings. Like, I love waking up and getting my coffee and reading somewhere just to start my day. I want to start my day like that. Now my Bible studying and everything, no, not in the mornings. But if I don't start my day doing that, I oftentimes don't do it. So, but
I'm with you. I have to start my day with it. Otherwise, it won't get done. I'm not sitting down at 3 p.m. and that's my own terrible selfish nature. Once it's past like noon, like I'm not revisiting it. It's not like a conscious choice. It's just like once the day is going, it's hard for me to stop the race. So like I have to start it. I have to do it first thing. Like I can't not. So that's been like how I've been able to become disciplined to make it a daily habit. And I heard somebody say this a while ago, and it's not something profound. They just said you just have to do it. Like. So my thing is I make sure I read at least three chapters every single day. Like that's my thing. Whether they're small or long, I just set the bar at 3 and I'm doing 3. Like it's just like working out. If you're like, I'm going to work out for 45 minutes, you just go for 45 minutes. It's not that easy, but it's like when I heard it was a pastor, it might've been JP. And I think he just said it so simply of like, it's not always fun. And sometimes you get nothing out of it, but you just have to do it. And that's been helpful for me. But also I have the luxury of being a single man with 2 cats, not a married man with a kid. So like it's tougher for you. I get it. I have it a little easier. but it's just, it's tough. And it's just like anything, man. Like in this time where people have like really had a lot more free time, but they've been it's even me, everybody has realized something they could do better at. They've probably realized something good about themselves, like, oh, I'm grateful for this. And they might have realized a lot more gratitude, which I totally have. I'm super grateful for a lot that I wasn't before. At the same time, though, I've learned a lot about myself during this time. Like, man, I have a lot of room to improve. Like that's the blessing and the curse of having all this extra time is like, you do realize like how faulty we are as humans. You know what I mean? Not just in spiritual disciplines, but just in like human behavior and human disciplines. Like it's shown a lot of people their areas of opportunity, if I could say that, me being the first one. So like what I'm trying to say is I'm kind of grateful for this time in a way, because it's shown me so much so quick that a situation like this, if it didn't happen, I wouldn't have learned so much. Do you feel anything similar? Have you been learning much through this time at all?
I probably should have learned a lot, but I mean, my life hasn't changed much.
That's fair.
It hasn't affected me like you in the way. I mean, your job was gone.
Yeah, it went away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, my way of living was pretty much the same. It just, my wife never left to go to work.
That's a good point.
So, I mean, honestly, I feel like the Lord really blessed me when I got out of the Army and I got my disability. Just the way I have so much ability, it feels like, opportunity, I think is a better word, to choose to be productive. I can always, it's like, I feel like I'm always in rest mode.
Mm-hmm.
So I should be choosing, like my default is rest mode because I don't have to work to get a paycheck, right?
Mm-hmm.
I get my disability and I just turned 30 this year.
Thank you for your service.
So,
Thank you for your service.
And so when I don't know, I guess it's kind of like, I don't always choose a bad choice or whatever. I've read it and I forgot exactly what it says, but there's the difference between right and almost right or something like that. I don't want to choose a good thing. I want to choose the best thing. And if I'm choosing anything but the best thing, I don't know.
Then I would venture to say that you and I are on the same page then, just on different levels. But like, that's the same thing with me. I've realized all the stuff I'm saying, like I've learned so much, all of it can be summed up in what you said, is that I've realized, like, not all of it, but most of it can be summed up in the fact that I've realized when it comes to most things, like I choose, again, like just like you, I choose good when I could choose great. You know what I mean? And yeah, that's what you exactly said. And same with me. I'm like, I do a lot of things halfway, or not halfway, but like I thought I was doing them to the best of my abilities, and this time has made me realize I haven't been. I've been just doing them good, but like you said, I could be doing them way better. I think that's what I was trying to say. Like, we've all gotten this time and realized, like, we take a lot for granted, and we really aren't always putting us forth as much effort in life as we think we are.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of settle. We've kind of allowed ourselves to settle. I'm not saying just you or just me. I'm saying, like, as a whole, I think hopefully our society will realize that we've settled with average in a lot of areas. You know what I mean? I don't know if you have more to say on that. I think, like, in our spirituality, in the way we just execute our daily routines, in our ambitions, I think we've just decided as an American culture as a whole to just be pretty average and then tell everyone that that's good.
Yeah, we want to be living above average.
Shameless plug. Oh, my dad's gonna love you when he sees this. That's actually a really good book, though. It's super practical if you read it. I read it as a daily devotional.
I haven't read it yet.
Bro, this is how I read it, as a daily devotional. Just a few little tidbits a day of how to live a more above average life. Pretty practical. Nothing mind-blowing. Again, I've realized too, like, a lot of the most profound things in life are the most basic. You know what I mean? Like, you even said it earlier. The best life is a balanced life. You said that. And, like, people might be like, yeah, you're so right. But, like, no, if you really think about it, that's a profound statement. Like, we do not live in a balanced world. So living a balanced life is that's a profound thing that people just pass over because it sounds so basic. You know what I mean? Like, oh, yeah, for sure. Like, definitely live a balanced life. But my rebuttal to that, to most people and to myself, is like, okay, but yeah, Kyle, like, inventory your life. Is your life balanced? No. So don't just pass over like, yeah, live a balanced life. Like, but do it. We're really good at talking is what I'm saying. Americans are the best. We sound amazing. We say the coolest things. We have the most motivational quotes. We are so inspiring. But then when it comes to, like, executing, we're the worst. We don't execute on all these cool things we say. What's your 2 cents on American culture, hopefully moving forward out of the coronavirus? What are some hopes that you would have for us as a culture moving forward?
The people begin to think for themselves and less of a what is the word? Just the fear that gripped a lot of people, and they just did what Big Brother told them to do.
I love that you said that.
So, nothing wrong with listening to experts or obeying your government, but to the extent that it went, I hope people wake up to this.
Right.
Now, being here in Texas, it wasn't like New York City or New York or California, the bad places, right? I don't mean bad isn't like bad with the virus. I mean bad because of the people there, like the ideologies, et cetera. But hopefully people wake up. I don't think they will. I think it'll just get worse and worse. But
why do you think it'll get worse? Because people are fearful already, so they need to cling?
Yeah, and then I think that's how the Bible kind of lays it out. It's not gonna. I don't think it'll get any better. Mm-hmm. I think you'll have pockets of betterness or revival or whatever, but I think as a whole, it's just gonna slowly go downhill. We're in America. We're so coddled and what is the word? Sheltered here. We don't. You ask an average person on the street, like what's going on in anywhere else in the world, they won't know.
Sure. Syria, North Korea, Israel, right.
They won't know. China, yeah. The Congo, the Democratic Republic of Congo.
We're the most educated, undereducated people ever. We think we're so educated, and we even call ourselves so educated. We're so undereducated, it's insanity.
And we're the most stupid, smart people.
Exactly. It's almost to the point of insanity or complete hypocrisy.
Yeah.
The things that we claim versus the way we behave.
I agree.
Okay, so hopefully people will wake up and start thinking for themselves, self-educate, which is hard. But I am empathetic to people that are like, I don't know what else to do. Like, I don't know where to look for how to think for myself. I try to watch the news, I try to do this, but I don't know what is what, and I can't trust any sources anymore. Right, but how about somebody that doesn't even know what to do, where to start? How does this book inform me when it comes to coronavirus or the end of the world? Because I'm now scared that the world's going to end or the economy is going to collapse. And this guy has said, read the Bible. How do I get that and apply it and have it? You know what I mean?
I guess what's
the first step for somebody that's on the journey?
With what I said earlier, let me above and prioritize what I'm about to say. I hope that Christians step out boldly. That's what I should have said originally. Because, to the person that has no idea where to read or look and hear, they would had they somebody that loved them enough to tell them where to read. Give them the basics first, and disciple them. I hope that stuff kind of starts. I do hope that stuff happens. So,
have you? Are you informed at all, or have you done any research or even heard much about disciple making movements? Like not like a four walls church, but a more intense disciple making movement, like finding people just in your neighborhood or your supermarket or just in your community and being like, yo, you guys want to dive into the Bible together? Like my dad, I asked that because my dad's involved with a disciple making movement. And he's super excited about it. I just wonder if you had any knowledge on that type of stuff.
I haven't heard of anything in my locality outside of knowing that I'm called to be the fisher of men. And then I'll
have to link you and my dad up at some point. I think you'd be really interested because the whole concept is basically the same concept that Jesus used when he walked the earth, which is he grabbed normal men and they became his disciples. And the same idea, say my dad meets several guys in his neighborhood, which they did move into a new neighborhood. He meets 4 or 5 guys and say, hey, you guys want to come over and maybe, come over and have dinner at my house, and I'd like to, just let's hang out, let's chop it up, maybe talk about the Bible, some spiritual stuff. And then he kind of helps disciple those guys. Like, not a lot of fluff, not a lot of frou-frou, just like, let's get in the book and let's disciple some people, and then you go find some other people to disciple, and let's make it a ripple effect. Like an ongoing, like an all the time, constantly looking for more people to put in your community group, like that type of idea. You know what I'm saying?
That'd be cool.
Like super, super offensive disciple making. Like, not waiting for people to ask questions, but like going and finding people that have questions and being like, cool, I got answers.
I like that.
I got to link you and my dad up. What he's doing is exactly what you would be murderous at, in a good way. Not that you would kill people. you'd be, I'm going to link you guys up on that. Totally different tip, but duly noted. You'll like it.
Okay, cool.
How long have we been on here? I know we have a 40-minute time limit in Zoom. I don't know where the time is.
You could have made it longer.
Again, I'm learning all of this stuff now. I'm super excited to be able to put out podcasts, video, just like this. This is going to be great. I hope it records properly. There was an option to record also an audio file. So I did that too. So hopefully I'll be able to put out an audio podcast and this right here. So double time, which would be amazing. This is going to be great.
Great. So if somebody disagrees with me, they'll see what I look like and be like,
perfect. Then we'll do part 2 so that we can touch on those topics.
I'll be more prepared next time with stuff.
There's no such thing as being prepared. You being a breathing, living human is preparedness enough for me, bro.
Well, I mean, rather than just throwing out information without source, I could be like, this is the source. Blah, blah, blah.
Think about it. We'll do a part 2. Me and Kristen have done part 1 and 2. So you and me will do our COVID edition podcast part 2. We will.
Bring it.
Well, is there anything that, like, if you had a minute or two to leave anybody with anything, trying to be as specific to like this time in life, anything that you would say to people at this time in life, encouragements, tactics, questions they should be asking, anything you think would be helpful for people as we come out of this crazy global shutdown of the world? It's insane.
I don't feel like I have the right with how I've been living, I feel like I've been living pretty lazily recently. So
don't do that is what you're saying. Okay, that's tip number 1.
Don't be lazy.
Tip number
1. If you don't know the Lord Jesus, get to know him, because he calls it birth pangs. We're having crazy weather happening more often. We're having viruses happening more often, volcanoes, earthquakes happening more often, wars, rumors of wars. The love of many grows cold. I mean, it's just getting worse. So if you don't know Jesus, ask him to reveal himself to you. I think that's the biggest thing. So I've been living lazily. Jesus, help me not be lazy. I have the choice to not be lazy. I'm going to ask you to help me, Jesus.
So don't be lazy. Seek out the truth. But you're smart. You know a lot. Like but you just like, I heard this said recently too. I think it was my dad who said, think about it. Pastors get up every week and have to preach about things that most of them are not fully doing. There's no pastor in the universe that gets up, preaches a sermon, and does everything that he says in his sermon all the time. Doesn't happen. Impossible. So, with that being said, you could still give us great advice that you're working on personally yourself.
Well, that makes me feel better.
Yeah. I give people advice all the time, and I'm not doing every single thing every minute all the time, but it's still the right advice. You know what I'm saying?
If you're going to buy water bottles, get the crush kind, because it's fun to crush them. And it saves space.
Do you crush them on your head, or is it more of a hand crush?
I like to use my hand.
Fair. You have solid man hands. I know. You got some solid dude hands. Thanks to the U.S. military, baby, and genetics, and just good genetics. How's your family? Before we go, how are your parents doing?
My parents moved up to Denison, so that's where they live now. You got to check out the house one day.
Let's go.
It's a nice house.
Let's go.
And then I think they're fairly healthy. Dad recently had an MRA and an MRI because he's had some dizzy spells, but they've ruled out stroke and the normal things that it could be. So we're waiting on word about that on those tests. My brother and cousin and old roommate still living over there. They are doing okay, I guess. John, you know John, right? He got promoted. He's now
congrats.
A sales manager at AutoZone in one of their stores up in Sherman.
Good.
And then my sister and brother-in-law are living in a townhome in Plano now. And they're doing all right. He's about to graduate somehow with this thing going on.
Somehow.
He'll be within the next couple of months. He'll be an official he'll be an official physical therapist. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Good. That's a good field to go into. The health field, as we now know, the healthcare field is job security, baby.
I still have it, but I had Mommy Thumb here as the nickname for it. I can't remember the official name. But Nick helped me figure out how to make it feel better. So
Nick, our region leader, Nick.
My brother-in-law.
Oh, okay, got you. Oh, because he's gonna be a physical therapist. Yeah. Sorry, wait. There's a lot of Nicks out there.
Yeah, not that Nick.
Oh, well, anyways, I hope he's doing well. I'm glad to hear that your brother-in-law, though, is going to be able to fix us all here pretty soon.
No.
I'll make a list of all my issues and send them on over.
He'll give me a discount, that's for sure.
Beautiful. I love it. Well, thanks for clocking in, man. It's been cool to catch up with you. And
yeah,
let's sorry to all the viewers and listeners, but we'll do this. We'll link up and catch up off camera here soon in the next week or so. Let's link up. I'll come over and check out your place.
Yeah, man, definitely.
All right, brother. Well, I love you, man. It's been good seeing you. Thanks for joining your second episode, but first to air episode of Inside the Mirror podcast. You are the original OG guest, and you always will be, no matter what anybody says.
Hey, I'll take it.
I'll take you. All right. I love you, brother. We'll talk to you soon, okay? All right, man. Take care. Later, brother.
Later.